vortex. We are so very lucky to have the virtue that we have. And just know that I know that it comes from God. So it's not like I take pride in being a virtuous person, because I think that virtue is not something that comes naturally to a lot of people. And there was definitely a time in my life a while back, but I was very like self-defeating, and I just felt sorry for myself, and I was definitely in the whole woe is me mindset. And I was thinking about how, like, when I started doing YouTube, I thought of myself as very liberal. I hadn't really been political in a while, ever since Barack Obama showed his ass. I was like, yeah, I'm not really interested in this anymore, because I'm going back to my original, like, anarchistic state of mind where I just think that they're all fucking us over no matter what. But I got myself a little bit, like, politically involved during his first election in 2008. But yeah, when I started doing stand-up, when I got involved in that whole scene, I think that one of the ways that I was attacked is, like, through my pride. And I just went through this very secular, you're not my dad phase. And it made me completely crazy, like even worse than whatever you see now you think is terrible. But ended up checking myself into a psych ward that was ever so conveniently right behind my job. And I'd always made this joke that I was going to end up there, and then, like, I ended up checking myself in. I was only there for like 4 days because they told me that I was the most self-aware person they'd ever met. But yeah, like, I was just thinking about how, like, when I started YouTube, like, yeah, I was pretty different. Like, my lifestyle was very different from what it is now. You know, I was total pothead, hardcore advocate for cannabis. And now that apparently Trump just legalized it, or I guess he, like, decriminalized, he classified it. It's not like the dangerous substance that it was classified as, which, you know, is right. Well, it should have never been labeled what it was labeled. Now it actually is way more dangerous. That's what's kind of funny. So it's still a lie. It's still a lie. Weed is way more dangerous now than it was then when it was made super illegal. But still, people shouldn't be thrown into jail for using a plant. Like, however you feel about it, like, it doesn't matter. It's still a plant, you know? And so, anyway, yeah, now that it's legal, I mean, I noticed that the plant was significantly changing since they legalized it in Colorado. And so, yeah, I had this voice in my head back in 2016, like, when I started doing stand-up and like, before I really put myself on the internet the way that you see me, I had this voice that spoke to me when I was here working, and I remember specifically where I was and what time it was and everything, because it was back when we were closing the store at like 2 a.m. and I remember, like, wiping down the shake machine, and I remember this voice. Like, I always know where and when I was, or where I was and when it happened, like, whenever the voice of God spoke to me, and he told me to just stop with cannabis, like, and, like, I didn't listen to that voice for like 8 years, dude, because I was so attached to the plant. And I'm so grateful. Like, cannabis has really taught me about God's grace. And I don't think that, like, if you had told me, 20 years ago that I was eventually going to quit cannabis and I was going to become some Christian and, join the orthodoxy and all that, I would have been like, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to do any of that shit. Okay. But yeah, I think that one of the reasons why, like, I do the YouTube channel is to showcase that transformation. And it just, it like absolutely blows me away. Honestly, it really does. It blows me away that, like, all of these things have happened that have changed my mind and have changed my life. And I could have never anticipated any of that shit. I mean, if I had, it would have scared the fuck out of me. So I'm glad that I didn't anticipate it. But yeah, like, well, I always told myself that if cannabis ever stopped being a positive thing for me, I'd stop using it. And it took me 8 years to listen to that. And so God is very patient, just remember that. Another thing that I'm going to add is that if you're yelling at yourself, and I mean, I know that I yell at myself all the time in this channel, but like, if you have a voice in your head that's yelling at you and trying to make you feel guilty about stuff, like, that's not the voice of God, okay? And so I'm really glad that I just trusted the process of God's grace and I just used cannabis the way that I did, because it taught me a lot. And so I'm not trying to, like, encourage anybody to get clean or whatever the fuck. I'm just showing you what I did, and, like, it's not ever my responsibility or anybody's responsibility to tell another person what to do. And if people are telling you what to do, do not listen to them, okay? Just, well, here I am telling you what to do, right? I don't mean it like that. But you know what I'm saying. Like, anybody barking orders at you probably does not have good intentions, even if they might think that they do. Because that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to go about it. But anyway, yeah, it's just amazing. It's just amazing, like, how much can change and how much God will transform you if you just trust Him, But I realize that is a lot easier said than done. But anyway, I'm gonna go to work. I think one of the reasons why I still stick around at this job is because, yeah, I've learned so much about myself and I've learned so much. That I never thought I could learn from a restaurant. But there you go. Experience will teach the teachable if they pay attention.